Hey, welcome to this edition of The Hot Seat. Today's guest is Dr. Brandon Gregory, the principal at Parkside Elementary. He has a varied background in education. We'll talk about that a little bit as we go through the interview. He has been a FACS teacher. Kind of walk us through what you've done.
Started my career as a middle school, high school FACS teacher. Ended up as a assistant principal at the middle school here at North County, and then I've been at Parkside as the building principal for 9 years.
All right, fantastic. So we're going to ask Dr. Gregory 20 questions. He's going to answer with the first thing that comes to mind. Hopefully we'll have some fun with it. I'm going to have some fun with it, and the viewers are going to have fun with it. I'm not sure for the guy in the hot seat how much fun it's going to be. For this episode, we did reach out to some of his co-workers and asked them to contribute some of the questions. And I will tell you this, that both Dr. Mattingly and Charlie Naughky wanted to ask the question, who was your favorite assistant principal you ever worked with? And I told them I was going to omit that because they may not like the answer.
I mean, I believe I'm talking to him right now, actually.
That's what I told them. We're going to leave that out. We're going to leave that out. All right, let's go with question number one, sir. What song would have to be in a soundtrack about the life of Brandon Gregory? What one song would be in the soundtrack?
Well, that's a tough one. So, I ride around a lot of times thinking about that stuff, but I guess I'd have to go with, I always think of my dad, so I think it'd be kind of one of those things that time in my life, spend time with Dad, but House of the Rising Sun.
House, fantastic, fantastic choice. If you found $80 on the ground and no one claimed it, what would you buy with it?
Well, I mean, my past history, I think I'd have went and found something educational. So,
yes.
Like maybe a scientific calculator or something.
Like a Texas Instrument calculator.
Yeah, Texas Instrument calculator.
That makes a lot of sense.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
So.
Well, this is from a guy who played the tuba. So Texas Instruments calculator makes a lot of sense. Number three, what was your strongest asset as a teacher?
I think my relationship rapport I had with students, and just
very important.
It was one of those things I think kids knew they could talk to me about just about anything, and I built those strong relationships. Which to me, if you don't have the ability to talk to kids for them to feel comfortable with you, you're really not going to have success in the classroom.
Sure. So. Question number four. This is multiple choice, so we make a couple easy on you.
Okay.
Oakland, Los Angeles, or Las Vegas? What will always be the home for your Raiders?
It's the Oakland Raiders.
Oakland Raiders. Okay.
Always will be. So.
Okay. Who is the best teacher you ever saw when it comes to dealing with unruly students? That teacher you knew you could give them a student and they could handle it.
And I've had a lot of them over the years, and I'm going to tell you, that's one of those questions you put me on the hot seat. I'm just going to tell you, I've worked with a lot of people. I've got a ton of them in my building now that I know I have personalities of teachers right now that no matter what type of kid I've got, I know the perfect place for them. And that's the way it's been all the years I've worked in education.
And I think that's a sign of a good administrator is knowing your staff and knowing what teachers will work well with certain students. And you and I both know that some teachers don't work well with certain students.
Exactly.
And you've got to fit those personalities. All right. Another easy multiple choice for you. Breaking Bad, Walking Dead, or Letterkenny?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I've been watching, I watched Breaking Bad, I haven't finished it. Walking Dead, I've been watching it for years, but man, recently I want to say I think Letterkenny's kind of pulled in the lead on that.
Okay.
I like a little irreverent comedy every once in a while. So.
This question comes from your good friend Dr. Jessica Harris.
Okay.
If your life was a World of Warcraft game, would you want to be a warlock, a wizard, or a druid?
Well, I mean, I always play warlocks in World of Warcraft,
Okay.
so there you go. So,
I'm
going to go with the warlock.
You're
on that,
the warlock kind of guy.
I've been playing one for 14 years. Why change now? So,
Who was the best employee, teacher, secretary, anyone you ever saw that you worked with when it came to dealing with upset parents? Because they come in sometimes upset.
I'll tell you what, man, it really kind of depends on the level. Once again, I think everybody has that ability. I know I've had some assistants. I've been lucky at Parkside to have multiple assistants.
Sure.
I know you, Dr. Mattingly, Charlie's figuring it out too. He's doing a good job with it. I have teachers. Really, there's hardly anybody I've ever worked with that doesn't have that ability to do
Good.
that.
If you could say that, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
If you were to be famous for something that you did in your spare time, what would that be? What would you want it to be?
Oh, I'd be a rock star, man. What
Be a
are you
rock
talking
star.
about?
Bass guy.
Yeah, that's it. Bass guy.
Playing the
Yeah.
bass. Okay. Best front man, David Lee Roth, Freddie Mercury, or James Hetfield?
If you want pure frontman qualities, David Lee Roth, all the way.
Okay.
I mean, I love James Hetfield. Metallica's one of my favorite bands, but if you want a frontman, I'm going David Lee Roth on that.
Okay. Another question from a coworker over there. You often wore a middle school polo while working at Parkside. What was your favorite building that you worked at in the district?
Well, I got a pretty good idea who this question's coming from, Michelle. So, here's the deal. I love all buildings equally.
Yeah, boy, that's,
There you go.
yeah, I'll let you off on that.
Thanks.
You love a free shirt more.
Yeah, I love a free. Exactly. I explained that.
Any guy
several
gets a
times.
free shirt.
I'm gonna wear it, man.
Keep in mind, this man bought a Texas Instruments calculator with the only $80 he had, so a free shirt goes a long way with this guy. Number 12, this is a Chad Lynn question. How long have you had your beard and what is your favorite beard product?
Okay. Well, I guess I started growing it about 2 or 3 years ago, and I haven't, when pandemic hit, then I just said I'm not going to trim it. And then I found a barber down in Farmington, former kid of mine, Eric Thompson, and works at a Loyalty Barber Shop down there. I'm not necessarily plugging anybody, but
Right.
he does a good job. I trust him, and so I've been going to him now for about 1.5 years, just keeping it trimmed up. But we decided we're going to see how long we can get it.
What kind of second part of his question, do you have a product like, I don't know, some motor oil or greasing formula?
Yeah,
or
I mean,
anything to put on
I
there?
use some. I use beard oil quite a bit,
Okay.
to make it nice and lush and full looking.
Yeah, I was going to comment on the lushness of your
Yeah.
beard. This
What can I say? It's
question number 13. Mrs. Hampton
yes.
gave you a clever nickname. Do you recall what it was?
Well, there's a couple. And what's funny is on my way over here, I'd gotten word that you might have asked people some questions. And it popped into my head, if Brenda has anything to do with this will come up. Well, there's 2 that I remember. One in particular was Dancing Bear.
Dancing Bear was not the one she mentioned
Well,
to me.
and then the other one that she uses probably more often than anything would be the Vanilla Gorilla.
The Vanilla Gorilla.
Thanks for bringing this all out, people.
No
I appreciate
problem.
that.
This didn't necessarily come, well, this came from Dr. Chad Lynn, but this is also kind of a Scott Yates question because you guys are Raider guys.
Okay.
Who's your favorite all-time Raiders player?
Boy, that's a tough one. I'll tell you somebody that I followed throughout their whole career, and when they left us was Charles Woodson. He just got in the Hall of Fame this year. I'd say, in the time that I've really followed him closely, it's been Charles Woodson. But if I look back at the historical side of things, I think Kenny Stabler he's just one of those guys, man. So
Woodson was a Heisman Trophy winner, won in a year that they didn't expect him to win.
exactly. He went to Michigan. I mean, I've always been a Wolverines fan. I mean, Tom Brady went there. I'm still a Wolverines fan. So,
Right. Right. Number 15. Other than your wife, who do you turn to often for advice? I mention your wife because I know she kind of tells everybody what to do.
Yeah.
You and me and
hey, but we're not supposed to talk about that on camera.
Are we rolling?
I think we're rolling.
Okay.
I think that's something we should have kept behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Other than your wife,
Yes.
whom I love, by the way, who do you turn to often for advice?
Man, it kind of depends on the situation and what's going on. There's a lot of people that I trust that I feel I can talk to, if it's personal stuff or
Sure.
whether it's work-related stuff. I mean, I've talked to you about things. I've talked to Brenda. I've talked to, Jessica, former assistants, current assistants, teachers. Harris is always there. A lot of times if I'm having a rough day, I'll pop in and check on her. But, I've got tons of people who I can count on, and so it's really not just one person.
I think
It's just
anytime you have
everybody.
that ability to turn to different people for different
Yep.
avenues of advice, you're always in good shape. Number 16, what was your part-time job in high school?
Well, I worked at a grocery store, actually.
Yeah?
Town and Country, and worked for Myron, my first boss. And
Okay.
bagged, that's back when we actually took people's groceries out for them, bagged them
Really?
and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, and we had to wear a tie, and I think our normal uniform was a short sleeve polo shirt with a tie. It's probably the gaudiest thing you've ever seen in the world.
Well,
That's what we all wore. So.
Knowing you, according to Michelle Higginbotham, you probably still have that shirt because
Well,
it's a free shirt.
I do. So, I don't throw stuff away if it's still good, man. Come on.
What is your favorite all-time video game?
If you look at hours played, it'd have to be World of Warcraft. So.
World of Warcraft, okay. What would you say is your finest quality? Brandon Gregory, your time to brag on yourself. What's your finest quality?
You know, that's the hardest thing for me to do. So, I don't know. I just think it's my ability to get along with people. I can't think of how to word it, but I tend to.
I would agree with that, and I would add to that. You put more thought into decisions than anyone I've ever seen. Sometimes I've had to tell you,
Yeah.
thinking too much on this one.
Yeah,
Let's
I
roll
know,
with this.
so.
But I think that's another quality, is that you don't make a rash decision, and you do those things. I like this one. Number 19. Describe an embarrassing moment in your life.
Man.
I know it's hard to narrow them down.
I know that's the thing I'm trying to think of. You know, the embarrassing things I pulled. So
I should have asked this question of Nikki to tell me that about you.
Yeah,
She could have probably helped out a
Exactly.
bunch.
You know, seriously, trying to think back, man, that's a hard one.
I'll give you a pass on this one. I'll throw
Yeah.
in a different question for you to help you out here.
I'm sorry. That's
If you were to travel outside the United States, where would you like to visit?
Ireland.
Ireland.
Yep.
I've been to Ireland.
I
Very
want
nice
to go
place.
there. I want to rent a car, and I want to spend about 2 weeks just driving around checking stuff out. So.
I did that, but you realize you have to drive on the other side of the
Well, I
road.
kinda
there.
do that anyway.
The shifting
You
part's
know.
kind of difficult.
Yeah.
If you were an incoming junior, last question, junior
Yeah.
or senior at UniTec, what program do you think you'd like to be involved in?
Well, I'll tell you, there's, of course, having FACS background, you know, I think culinary arts would be very interesting. You know, electrical electronics is something else I've always been interested in. You know, so really, I mean, it's like, I love cooking, I love that kind of stuff, but I also I've been getting really back into music and stuff again, so I want to learn, you know, how to build guitar pedals and things like that, so.
Right.
I think, you know, my interests go all over the place, but I really think
You know, and
either
it's,
direction.
I'm
so.
glad that you brought that up, because Mr. Marler has a kind of a new slogan for us here at UniTec. He says, we can fix anything but a broken heart. And we're working on that. So, you know, I think UniTec's a great place to come if you want to, you know, experience a lot of different things. This has been The Hot Seat with Dr. Brandon Gregory, sponsored by his staff. They paid the $25 sponsorship fee.
Thanks a lot.
For him to be in the hot seat. If you have someone you like and you'd like to put them in the hot seat, or as Mr. Lowry says, someone you don't like and you'd like to see them in the hot seat, it's only a $25 donation to Mr. Jason Lowry's program here. If you enjoy the hot seat, please look at our digital media channel, like and subscribe to YouTube, and have a fantastic day.